Welcome to the class, and today we are going to discuss about the sources of water. So we all know about the sources of water. So in our school days, in your school days also, we studied about the various sources of water. So the sources of waters are classified into two types. One is surface water, and another one is groundwater. So the examples for the surface water are, what is by surface water? So surface water is nothing but the water which is on the surface of the earth is said to be the surface water. So groundwater, what is by groundwater? So groundwater is nothing but the water which is present below the ground or beneath the ground is said to be the groundwater. So these are all the examples of the surface water. So lakes, ponds, streams, rivers and storage reservoirs all comes under the surface water. And for the groundwater, the open wells and tube wells, nothing but the bore wells and the artesian wells, springs and infiltration galleries. So all these comes under the groundwater. So let us discuss one by one. So what is surface water? So surface water is water on the surface of the earth or the planet, such as river, lake, wetland or oceans, right? So it can be contrasted with the groundwater and the atmospheric water. So it is different from the groundwater and the atmospheric water. So we have to clearly understand that the surface water is nothing but the water which is on the surface of the planet is said to be the surface water. And then no saline surface water is replenished by precipitation and by recruitment from the groundwater. Okay, right. And then these are all the examples. So these pictures shows you about the lake, ponds and streams, rivers, etc. Okay, and the next comes to that groundwater. So what is groundwater? So groundwater is the water present beneath the earth's surface in soil pore spaces and in the features of the rock formations. So the examples for the groundwaters are open wells, tube wells, artesian wells and the infiltration galleries. So what are all the uses of water? So we all know that the uses of water may be broadly divided into three categories. One is consumptive use, and another one is partially consumptive use, and third one is a non-consumptive use, right? So consumptive use in this irrigational use, which mainly deals with the irrigational use, and partial consumptive use means domestic purpose, for water which is used for the domestic use, that is for bathing, cooking and for cleaning the clothes. So it all comes under the domestic use. And then industrial use and institutional use, public use and the fire demand. So these are all the partial consumptive use. And the non-consumptive use means which is used for the navigational purpose, that is for moving of the ships and the boats, and for recreational use, that is for water theme parks and for fountains, etc. And then generation of the hydroelectric powers, and all these comes under the non-consumptive use. Okay.